I'm going to talk about the human edge. So in our world, we hear a lot about AI. We use AI every day, so I want to be clear that I'm not against AI. But with so much AI and so much automation, I want to talk about how being a human today kind of matters more than ever, and the opportunities for connection that we can create using the tools that we have today. So I want to start by talking about diamonds. Does anyone know what makes a diamond special? What do people look for when they're purchasing a diamond? Clarity. Cut. We've got 2 C's. So historically, there are 4 C's that people look for: cut, clarity, color, and carat. And that's what indicates you have a good diamond. It's really nice. It's really clear. Carat obviously indicates size. But that's starting to change. So this is looking at inclusions, which just reference any imperfections in diamonds. So that might be a crack, that might be mineral still in the diamond. And these are typically considered not perfect. This is not what people have traditionally sought for. This doesn't fulfill those 4 C's of clarity. They can be large, I guess, but doesn't necessarily meet the traditional standards. This is an example of what is called a salt and pepper diamond, where it has a ton of those inclusions, a ton of minerals stored in the diamond. And this is becoming more popular. So this is small, but I'll read some of it out loud. This is pulled from Quora. But this is a jeweler talking about how lab-grown diamonds are affecting the impact of quality and how people are looking at real natural diamonds, because it's nearly impossible for jewelers to tell the difference between a lab-grown diamond and a natural diamond until you have a real expert in the room. So you're seeing someone on the street with a ring, you're not immediately going to know whether it's lab-grown or whether it's real. And so we're starting to see people actually asking and looking for diamonds with inclusions. So inclusions are like a fingerprint to a diamond. And then this graph here is looking at that salt and pepper diamond over the last 5 years or so. So that huge increase in searches for something that's traditionally not perfect and not the way we would think about looking for diamonds or valuing diamonds historically. And I think this is really valuable because people want the natural marks. They're looking for the imperfection, the proof that it's real and not coming from a lab. No longer do we just want it to be real. We want to show people that it is. So people are looking for diamonds that are historically not perfect to prove that they're real. And I think that's really valuable today when we talk about AI and automations, because there are a lot of signals we see that indicate something was just dropped into an LLM or this is an automated sequence. And there are ways to have a human touch point at the end. So everyone's tired of something fake. Let's show them something real. And everyone's racing to automate. This is where your opportunity lies. This is what we see today, at least in my world, quite frequently.
Isn't that great?
Right? Sometimes I come into the office and that's all that I feel like I hear. It's we have AI, we have AI, we have AI. Great. But we want to make sure it's providing value, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes we're just using AI, or a brand has just plastered AI on top of it to say that they're using AI. And it's actually interesting in the world of marketing specifically, it's so prevalent, and it's something we talk about all the time, but in the US and in the world, it's not as prevalent as we might think. These are some examples of some companies. So we've got HubSpot, we've got Typeform, we've got Canva, we've got Apple's homepage, MailChimp, all of these flagging AI. If it's not on a website's homepage, it's still implied somewhere else that they are using AI. It's AI powered. They have an AI tool, AI 2.0, AI tools, and all of these. But actually, only half of employed American adults say they used AI a few times a year this past year, and that was up 46% from 2024. So that's only half of people saying that they're using it. And nationally, 42% of US employees are using AI on the job compared to 32% of European employees. So in the US, Americans were still using AI much more than other countries. And that's not always a positive thing. So over 65% of employees using AI indicate a positive impact or positive report, meaning that this other percentage of people are indicating maybe it has a negative impact. Maybe they're not seeing any impact, but they're using it anyways because they're being told to use it. So although in my world, and I assume many of yours, you hear about it a lot, it's actually not as prevalent as we might think. This is an example of when some AI has gone wrong in creative. So this is an advertisement we were working on for This is not what they sent us, but in building in Meta, so Instagram and Facebook, they're now giving you AI creative, that they take your creative and they adapt. So what's wrong with this photo? They added snow, right? Like it takes a second to notice immediately. The snow's done really well. Like it fits around his body nicely, but it's a summer picture. The girl in the back is in a tank top and shorts. This is looking at Canva. We're starting to see posters, especially when it's like a quick band or a pop-up event, that's all used through Canva, the same LLMs, and they look the same, they feel the same, even it's a completely different show, completely different event. This might take a second to notice, but this is a exercise list, but like her legs are on backwards, her head's on backwards. Kind of hard to tell what exercise you're supposed to be doing here. And then the classic hands. So whether it's like an illustration with 3 hands or a multitude of fingers, AI just really hasn't gotten this right, but we're still trying. And even though in the US we're not using it as much in other countries and we're still pushing to use it in the marketing field, it's really distrusted. So this is looking at AI industry and brand trust benchmarked against 200 other categories and 3,000 other brands. And we're up there with like tobacco, chemicals, prescription medicines, crypto. Like people, yeah, right? People don't like it. It doesn't feel good. They don't trust it. Yeah. Yeah. It's the same as like 0 sugar. I don't buy it. So everyone has rushed to automate. In the last like 5-10 years, we've been hearing this push to automate, push to use AI. And there are so many benefits and tools that we can use to make our lives easier, but not everyone thought about what they were actually automating or what they were actually doing. So the result, emails nobody reads, ads that look identical, and brands that feel like nobody's home. We've all seen that. This makes me think of those posters again on Canva where everything just kind of starts to feel the same. Authenticity is visible, and so is the absence of it. You know when it's fake. So here's a couple of things that I see all the time that drive me absolutely nuts. This is like the classic bullet structure. I know this just was pumped out of an LLM with these dashes. Same thing with these arrows. And then this one on the far right also has a few M dashes. I'm not against M dashes. I use them all the time. But when I see this in conjunction with other things, it just tells me that someone dropped this right into an LLM and they put no thought into it. This is directly from my inbox. I get 10 of these every Monday. It's just a sales system pulling this automated information, probably from my LinkedIn profile. Hi, Anna, something personal. Missoula, I noticed. I'm curious how you're blank. I don't read them. As soon as I see that, I delete my email. This one here, 2 Instagram posts, emoji in the same double-spaced format. Ton of hashtags. No one wrote this. Wasn't written by a human. Same here. All these emojis, and then this description. This is for a makeup brand. Silky cream blush stick, a luminous liquid highlighter, and a versatile double-ended lip gloss. Hard eyes. It wasn't written by a human. And this is my least favorite out of all of these. It's not blank, it's blank. These qualitative statements. So it isn't, it is. Your headshot isn't a decoration, it's the gate. It's not just a sitemap. It's a connected system designed to move from question to evidence to action. Once you see these, you'll see them everywhere. And that's not to say you can't use a comparative statement like this, but again, when you see it in conjunction with the creative, in conjunction with these other elements, it tells me that a human didn't put time and thought into it, and it's pumped through an LLM. And lastly, this characteristic structure, particularly on LinkedIn, of the 2 big statements, back-to-back, 2-sentence statements that are meant to have like these huge impact and really don't. The structure typically reads that it comes from an LLM. And again, the gap is not in using AI, it's in the quality of it and the intention behind it. It's no longer a differentiator. We saw all those platforms at the beginning that are using AI. Everyone's using AI. If it's not on your homepage, again, people assume that you're using AI. But using it well can be a differentiator. So I'm going to take a minute. When's the last time you felt a real connection from a company or brand? And while you think about it, I recently had my eyes checked. I got a new prescription. And then like 4 months later, I told my partner, because he changed insurances, like, oh, I love my eye doctor. You should just go to them. And 2 days after he went, I received a handwritten note and a $5 gift card for coffee. And it blew me away because I honestly don't know the last time that I received that. I told him about it because I liked them. We lived together. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Great, go to them. But they took time to actually write a note and give me a thank you. And now I'm telling everyone about it. Like, they're great. Any other examples that people can think of where you felt like you connected with a brand?
I recently purchased a really weird little synthesizer thing. It's ultimately fascinating, and I didn't know how to dig into it, and there was a lot of weird questions because it was a small indie brand that just released this thing. And asked a couple questions on Reddit, and the inventor of it, who made the actual product that I got, came on and walked me through it. Like,
so cool.
And I feel like it's such a niche thing, but they're building this community from really from like a one-person level to the user, and I thought that was really cool.
And you're probably telling people about it.
Yeah, calling you right now.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. But yeah, it was kind of special in buying a product in these days to have that kind of connection. It's good.
That's really cool. Yeah.
On a similar note, as a musician, I order gear every now and then from Sweetwater, and they're like call you, like they're your rep, like they actually have amazing customer service. But then I was just reminded there's like a YouTube sort of meme or social media meme about the Sweetwater rep being at the guy's wedding.
That's great.
But there's a lot of, it does feel personal, even though it's a pretty big company. And
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, Nicole?
I don't know if it's still happening anymore, but AG1, which is a big company, when I was having to like pause my subscriptions and restart them and everything, it was, and this was before AI, it was a person who was answering me about it. It was like a nice, like, yeah, no problem, or
Yeah.
I just felt like I was talking to a human and not some automated thing. That made a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And same here, like when's the last time a real human reached out and it didn't feel like a script? And I think those are great examples. Even in mine, if I think that I got a thank you in like a gift card over email, I probably wouldn't have cared about it at all. But the fact that it was handwritten and like came to my door within 2 days of him having an eye doctor appointment, it made a big difference and I thought about it. So I also want you to flip it and think about yourself and your own communication, your own outreach, your own email. Would someone remember hearing from you or your company? Is that something they would be telling people about and value? So let's look at some real people and real messages. These are just pulled from some Missoula companies. This is looking at Run Wild Missoula. This is an Instagram post. They're promoting Missoula Marathon. They're doing a current trend. They made it local using their own promotion in here and this little notes app trend. And then it's language people in the know would know. So it's very simple, but even saying something like Pengelly, if you're not an avid trail runner or hiker in Missoula, you don't know what Pengelly is. That means nothing to you. And so just in that sentence alone, it's becoming local. This is looking at Clyde Coffee. Instagram new product spotlight. They have a spring matcha. It's a real employee. It's not a stock photo. It's not a photo of, just some random shop or random coffee. It's a real employee that works there that you would see showcasing their new matcha. And then lastly, this is looking at Coyote Modern. This is a store out of Columbia Falls. This is a reel on Instagram. This is actually the owner that's being filmed in the reel. He's saying thank you for attendance at a wine night they had in Wednesday in April. And then he's actually doing a raffle winner from names collected during that wine night. So this is my favorite one because one, it's a video, which is doing great on organic social right now. It's the owner who's actually taking time. It's not like, hey, my intern or my employee, make a video of yourself. He's the one doing it. He's saying a personal thank you, like this is a long thought out note, promoting also the next one on May 6th, mark your calendars. And then he's pulling a raffle winner. So the people that attended this event that know they put their names into this are also then gonna go look and follow through to see who won. So we don't need to live in a state of AI versus humans, like we hear this all the time. But AI allows for automation and in turn can create space for connection, and that's really what I wanna focus on. Our goal was never to replace the human moments with AI, and I think that's kind of been lost as the speed to automate and speed to implement AI in our work. I don't want someone to automate my art. I want someone to automate unloading my dishwasher so I can spend time doing art. And we can do that, like that's possible. So automate the logistics, utilize AI for the mundane so you can show up when it really matters. This is looking at Buffer. This is a content management system tool that we use in-house, really simply just to schedule content ahead of time. But I thought it was really cool. They just came out with this new feature where it reworks and optimizes content to fit each social channel. So you're still writing the copy, we're still creating the graphics, we're still creating the images. But instead of taking the time to just slightly format and tweak it differently, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, or even something as simple as between Instagram and Facebook, we know we can't put links and captions on Instagram. No one can click on them. It'll just change that for you without changing the actual content. This is looking at a MailChimp workflow. We are collecting leads through a campaign that we built on Meta. These leads are automatically pulled through this workflow. That's They have a series of 6 emails that they receive, staggered throughout. They're welcome to opt out at any time, but it's a series of touch points before a final human connection. And then this is looking at Trello, which is similar to Monday. It's our project management software that we use. They have this AI tool on the left that pulls in any email or list and just automatically creates action items for you. And you can also connect it to Slack or email, where if someone sends me a list of like, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, I can click a button and that will get pulled into Trello for me, so I can spend time actually working on that project rather than writing it up in Trello. You're good at your job because you remember the small details. You're the person that was hired. You're the person that matters. You show up early. You make the connections. You make people, problems, and processes actually feel like they matter. And that can't be replaced with an AI automated workflow. And that's what I want you to lean into. So don't automate your one-on-one meetings by sending a bot to read through Slack messages. Keep the coffee meetings on the books and send a handwritten thank you. I want to talk about a company that does this really well because I think it's overwhelming to think about doing it at scale. And there's a lot of ways that you can scale this rather than just saying like, I don't have time to write 100 thank you notes. So I want to talk about Chewy. If you're not familiar with Chewy, Chewy is a pet company. They have an online platform. You can purchase like one-time products, food, toys, whatever. But you can also set up automated subscriptions. Like personally, I have a food that my cat orders that's a pain to find in Missoula. It comes to my house once a month. And it's automated. Now, if you were to ever cancel that subscription, you have the option to say why it was canceled. The classic, like it was too expensive, I didn't have time, it came too much, I switched pet foods. But you can also indicate if your pet has passed away, whether that's through their online form, whether that's through a customer service rep that you're calling saying you want to cancel, or whether you're sending an email to someone, they're flagging that. And what they do afterwards is pretty cool. So they're sending personal notes. They're reaching out to floral companies in local areas and sending notes apologizing for the loss of your pet. They also employ a team of handwriters and like gift givers who will write handwritten notes. Here's a hand-painted rock with the pet's name who passed away. So in this time where people are having, a crisis, their pet has passed away, they're really sad. The last thing you want to do is look at their bowl, look at their dog food. You're so sad. You might finally get the courage to call up and cancel. And they're making this incredible moment of human connection. And it's working really well for them. So this is pulled from Reddit. They gave me a refund, told me to just donate the things to the local animal shelter. Then a few days later, a bouquet of flowers showed up at my door. It was from Chewy.com with a card that said, sorry for your loss. This had hundreds of comments of people saying, same for me, it was really kind. I just bought a large bag of expensive food, flea treatment, and pee pads right before my old dog passed, right? Like people relate to this so well, and they're taking a simple moment to create human connection. And I'm sure behind the scenes, they have all these systems in place that trigger to their team when this happens. So whether it's through an email form, whether it's through a personal phone call, whether it's through their website and someone selecting that box, they then have these systems in place to send that over to their team of gift givers and card writers, as well as the information of like who it is, what the pet's name is, what kind of pet it is, to make sure it's personalized. So here's some more examples. Like there were hundreds of these examples. This is again pulled from Reddit. They're truly one of a kind. This is again another hand-painted rock. Someone's commenting on the loss of Oreo with their hand-painted rock of Jet. This is from LinkedIn, which kind of surprised me. I wouldn't think someone would be posting this on LinkedIn, but it meant so much. Chewy was the first one to acknowledge when my pet passed with a handwritten note. And then this is my favorite. Not only are they making people feel good and making these lifelong customers and reaching out when someone's upset and in a time of need and going through something that's difficult, but this comment here, I've always wondered about them, but never quite got around to ordering from them. From your post alone, they've just gained a new customer. Like they're creating this incredible brand awareness by having this moment of human connection. So today we're seeing a swing back in the other direction of in-person events. So last year, 63% of events were in person compared to 33% virtual and 4% hybrid. 60% of B2B brands now say in-person events are their top marketing strategy. And 79% of Americans prefer interacting with a human over an AI agent. We heard that from your examples of trying to talk to people on customer service. So what does that mean for us? One thing that's been working really well for us at Pintler Group is email, because it's a great opportunity to automate a process and create these touch points before you can come in as a human. Making space for connection. So one example here is events. Run an ad for an event, drive event registrations, capture emails, your owned audience, and then automate a drip campaign to keep in touch with these people. But at the end, you're connecting in person. You're hosting an in-person event where you're going to show up, you're going to talk to people. You guys fall in this category. Coming to this event today. Experts. Build an email list around an expert and a topic of value. Promote something that is valuable to your audience. Automate a welcome sequence, building anticipation. Then host a live session, real people, real time, where they can ask real questions. So you're setting up all these processes that take up your time, following up with people, collecting rather than sending individual outreach emails. But at the end, you're having a moment for human connection, and then you could even trigger a post-session follow-up sequence to check in with these people. Resources. All of you, I'm sure, have resources that already exist within your company or organization that would provide value, whether that's a course or a guide. You can capture emails utilizing that, deliver it automatically. You're not sending those emails, you're not sending those resources, you're not sending those texts. But end with a person on the other end of the thread, a human follow-up, a person that they can reach out to and call and speak to someone directly. The goal is to automate the touch points between the human moments, protect your time, energy, and resources for the conversation that actually matters. Montana, I think, is really unique. Like, within this room, I'm sure we all have some degree of connection. I've lived in Missoula for 10 years, and I feel like, so many faces look familiar, even if I haven't met you, because we're in Missoula. And your reputation often arrives before you do. So whether you're, Chewy, this major company who's bringing on new customers just because of their positive experiences people have, in Montana, it's the same thing. Like, one positive experience spreads really quickly through word of mouth. So optimize for trust and connection first, and your revenue and your reputation will follow. Connection is the strategy. I want to leave you with a couple things to think about. What is one thing you have automated or are currently using AI to complete that you think should be human? What's one touch point that you're using now that maybe would be better received from your audience if it was actually coming from a real person? And vice versa, what is something you're spending precious time completing that should be automated? Andy always references, if you're doing something more than 3 times, it should be automated. If you're finding yourself, sending the same emails, sending the same reminders, sending the same Slack message at the end of the day, that should be something that's automated. And I want you to try and find some time in the next coming weeks or coming months to swap them. Make sure that those human elements are included where they feel most necessary and where your audience would receive them best, and automate the repeatable processes that are currently consuming your time. The more tech we use, the more automated the world gets, the more valuable you become, the more valuable we as humans become, and the more often people are craving human connection more than ever. Thanks. Any questions?